Do you think the Premier League will come back?
This
This
season?
do you think they'll finish the season? Welcome back, everyone, to the 4th episode of the Second Perspective podcast. Today, it's just me and Rich. I hope you guys don't mind. We're just going to have a little chat. We certainly... Last week was probably our favorite episode so far. At least it was mine. I haven't asked Rich this same question, but having Edwin on and seeing a guy... First off, if you haven't gone and watched that, we had Edwin Todd on, who is a magician, 18-year-old. He's done stuff with Gordon Ramsay and various other outlets, kind of a freelance, if you will. But he's a super talented kid, and we had him on, so it'd be awesome if you guys went over and watched that. Of course, after you listen to what we have to say today, because we got some juicy stuff for this episode. But Rich, what'd you think about last week?
How's it going, guys? I loved last week. Like Pete said, if you haven't already watched it, definitely go and give it a watch. It was one of my, you've been making YouTube videos long before I have, Pete, but for me anyway, it was probably the most fun I've had creating something on YouTube as a platform for a while. It was just interesting to hear his background and then what he's doing and where he's going. And like you said, he's young, he's 18, and the future's looking bright for Edwin. It was just really fun, and it's opened up the whole door for me in the podcasting thing. I don't know if you feel the same way, Pete, but for me anyway, this is ultimately why I wanted to start a podcast as well, to collaborate and just speak to people. It was just really fun. I really enjoyed it, and like Pete said, again, go and watch it if you haven't already. And also, I've noticed, I don't know about you here, Pete, but we've got 30 subs now, but we are getting a lot of views compared to the amount of subs we got. So just if you are watching this and this is your 4th time watching now and you haven't already subscribe. It would mean a lot.
I will second Rich on that. We work pretty hard on these podcasts every week. We're kind of ironing out the technical side of things, and it's obviously hard because we are in totally different areas of the world, thousands of miles apart, with different rooms and different mics and everything like that. We try to keep everything as consistent as we can, but when we bring guests on, it's hard, we want to bring guests on and have that good content, and we also want to maintain that high level of quality, but sometimes it's hard, just because people don't have necessarily the equipment or things that would make a podcast the top quality, but that's fine, and we don't expect that out of any of our guests, but what we want to prioritize is obviously the content, and I think you can kind of get over sometimes if the audio is not as good for someone who has something really interesting to say. And going forward, that's going to be our mentality. One day, maybe, hopefully, we'll be able to shoot a podcast together in person. I know Rich is
amazing. That would be so much fun.
He loves the idea of Florida, man. Maybe we'll go to
just meet up in Florida somewhere.
We'll rent a yacht in South Beach or something for Miami Music
sharks.
Week. Yeah, for Miami Music Week. Yeah.
That would be sick. That would be so much fun.
But one of the things we talked about last week was Edwin, and if you haven't watched, there was magic tricks on the actual podcast, and they were fantastic. We had Edwin send Rich a envelope, and he pulled a little trick on us. It was kind of adapting to modern times, with a virtual magic trick almost.
Yeah,
but we talked about this, and we wanted him to start a TikTok, and he did. And let me read the numbers off here. And we did explain that he's not going to blow up initially straight out the bat, but he made his first one. He got 557 views, which that was just straight off, no followers, nothing. And the second one got 2,800 plays. Not bad.
Wow, that's good. It's good to see that we've maybe gave him that push that he needed effectively. I sort of came off the call and I was like, I hope I wasn't too forceful, or I hope Pete wasn't too forceful in actually saying,
yeah, because I was kind of aggressive about it.
Yeah, you were like, do it.
I was
just
like,
do it. Yeah, but sometimes it does help for someone to, have an outside eye, and just say what you should, what they suggest. And it's good that he didn't just think, oh, what are those couple of idiots saying? I don't want to do. It's good that he actually did put it into practice and went and tried it. And hopefully it pays off for him, because yeah, it's a good platform for something like that, I think. Anyway, Muppet of the week.
Muppet of the week. We're gonna dive straight into it.
Muppets of the week.
I will go first here. Now, I don't have like a viral video or a certain person that I want to call Muppet of the Week. I had an example of a couple tweets, but I lost them in I don't know, in the Twitter sphere. But so my Muppet of the Week today is, and Rich might be in this actually, people who think LeBron is better than Michael Jordan. That's my Muppet of the Week.
Just everyone
LeBron
that thinks that.
Yes, everyone. So there's a lot of Muppets of the week this week. What are your thoughts on that, Rich?
Yeah, well, no chance for a start. I mean, I'm not the biggest. Like, obviously, here in the UK, basketball isn't the biggest sport. We are very much football orientated. Like, there's some people that are into it for sure. But you know, basketball aside, like, we're talking about two major athletes here, and it's. I mean, no disrespect to LeBron, like, yeah, it's just quite clear that MJ was like the greatest of all time.
Right. I mean, LeBron is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I love LeBron too. But I think, I don't know if you've watched The Last Dance, Rich. We talked about it, but you haven't started it yet, right?
I've still not seen it. I've been doing so much recently, and I keep there's so many things that I want to watch, and that is like the forefront of everything that I want to watch right now. But I've just not had the time. Like, I'll be honest, but I've seen so many people talking about it. It looks really good, but I've just not had the time. But
phenomenal.
Sure.
And after you watch that, you'll have an even higher perception of Michael Jordan. I mean, he wasn't the nicest guy at times, but like six championships and 6 MVPs in those championships is fantastic. You know what I mean? So that's my thing. It's a frustrating argument for me, and I get passionate about it a lot, and I shouldn't.
Yeah, but well, no, it's okay. I think it's okay. You've got to be passionate about some things, and for me, like, there's always an athlete that comes through in every sport that changes the way the game is played and or thought about or spoke about, and he was one of those. Like, LeBron, as good as he is, hasn't done that, unfortunately. If he was there before Michael Jordan, potentially, maybe he did, maybe he would have done that. But the fact is, like, you look at golf as an example. Tiger Woods came through, and maybe there will be players that are better than him in years to come. But right now, like, he changed the game. He changed the way it was played. And you know, there's so many examples in football, in other sports as well. So it's a hard thing. Like, legacy overcomes actual ability sometimes as well.
Ronaldo,
but yeah,
and Messi.
Say I get Ronaldo and Messi. I think they're two. I don't really like the argument. I'm passionate about not having the argument. You're passionate about, like,
no. I'm not. I don't want to have the argument because it's hard to compare. I think it's easier to compare Messi and Ronaldo because they're the same era, if that makes sense. Yeah,
it frustrates me when people just, like, have that, like, you know, you've got to pick one. It's like, well, they're two different players. I know they're both, like, forwards and whatever, but they're two different players. They're two types. You know, if you put it this way, if you had a team and they were both in the team, you wouldn't start one and not the other. They would both be starting.
Yeah.
And they both offer two completely different things. You know, Ronaldo's good in the air, Messi's, you know, better at dribbling, in tight areas and stuff. Like, there's so many different attributes that they both offer, and I just really appreciate the fact that I've lived inside an era where they're both existing. I think that's, like, the coolest thing, in my opinion. Anyway, I think that's really cool.
Well, it's tough because, so I don't want to drift too far off topic here, but, like, that whole argument of where, like, LeBron is a better basketball player than Michael. And, like, I think you have to take into consideration that, like, every generation gets better. You know what I mean? Yeah. At everything, every generation. So, like, LeBron had that extra kind of competition to be able to prepare for.
Yeah, absolutely.
At a younger age, you know what I mean? Like, when Michael Jordan was growing up, I mean, it was like 1976. Like, they didn't have the 3-point line or anything like that. So, I mean, Messi and Ronaldo is an interesting comparison because it's the same. They grew up in the same era, pretty much, almost exactly.
Yeah, I get that. But also the argument can be as well that, like, and again, not drifting too far off topic, but, like, LeBron had more competition as well. Like you said, everything's got better. So, like, even the people, his opponents around him, have more knowledge are stronger, are fitter, are more athletic. As well. No disrespect to any of the others as well, but like, you know, as sport and as the world evolves, everything, like you say, gets better and competition therefore increases. But yeah, it's quite an interesting one. Like I say, I don't really know, like I'm not the biggest basketball fan in the world, and I'm sure a lot of my viewers that have come from my channel watching this podcast or listening to this podcast right now would second that. Like I'm not the biggest fan, although I do appreciate it, if that makes sense, and I'd be able to go into, you know, sort of conversation like this and feel like I can hold my own. But if you started going into depth in it, I'd be sort of lost in effect.
We can dive. We have some things planned that are related to sports, so we're gonna get back on topic here. Something might come up later, but Rich, who is your Muppet of the week? All
right, so my Muppet of the week, you've probably seen this, Pete. I'm not sure that many of the listeners might have heard or seen this, but mine is a rapper or hip hop artist, whatever you like. He's quite a controversial character, 6ix9ine.
Oh, jeez.
He's always going to be controversial, no matter how you look at it. But have you seen his thing where he accused Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande of like buying the #1 Billboard spot?
I have not seen that. No.
Okay, so obviously they released their single this week, "Stuck With You," which all the proceeds went to charity, and it went straight to #1 on Billboard. And he then accused them of basically buying that. But look, that's not why he's Muppet of the week, because we all know that. Like,
I'm gonna look it up right now.
The music industry is a bit corrupt. Well, it can be corrupt. I'm not saying don't quote me on that, but like I wouldn't put it past. I'm not saying that he's not my Muppet of the week for that reason. He's my Muppet of the week for this reason. So he released a video on his Twitter or whatever. Now, bearing in mind, like this single that he released, that he was beat on to #1 by Justin and Ariana. He was like, this was the most streamed music video on YouTube, I think, within the first week, I think, ever. Like
Gooba? Is that what?
Yeah,
it
that's
is?
it. Yeah. I mean, he's a big deal. Like,
yeah, no, I know. Do you guys listen to him in the UK at all?
No, I don't personally. Like, I don't really like it personally.
He's kind of like it's almost like satire, I think, rap. Like, that's how I ingest it. Like, you've listened to his songs before, right?
Yeah. I've heard, but I just can't really get it.
Yeah. I mean, you probably heard like Gummo and stuff, but like he's just not a good guy. Like, let's be honest here, not at all.
I mean, he's done some crazy shit. Like, and I wouldn't like to be like, he's pretty much on the run now, right? Isn't he? Like, I think he came out of prison and he's like...
Yeah, so I looked him up. I was wondering, like, why he was out of prison and why he's, like, been in the headlines recently. And so he's been arrested on so many different things. Like, I can't remember. Like, it's been domestic violence. Well, first off, it was committing sexual acts with a minor. So that's not, like... It's obviously disgusting. But it's not... Yeah. I thought he, like... he was a predator. Like, that's what I always thought, and I think a lot of the public thinks that too. But what he was doing, which is super gross, he had a girl in his music video who's 13, and he was like slapping her like inappropriately, and she was naked, and I was like, that's just like, why would you do that?
Yeah,
like,
why? Like, yeah, what the
he was 17 or 18 at the time, I think. So, but still, like, that's disgusting. Like, that's just...
there's no place for that, is there? Like, there's no...
Right.
I mean, I don't know how you can even recover from that personally. Like, from a career's point of view, like, how's he even made it work to this point? But look, anyway, like, I want to show you this video. It's quite funny. So basically, what I was saying before is like, he's a big deal. Like, and people follow him. People are like invested in him and what he does because he's entertaining. Like, his story is entertaining. Like, let's be honest. Like, there's always something going on with him, and he put this video out on his YouTube channel or on his Twitter, whatever it was. Hold on, a plugin is required. I can't actually share my iPhone screen. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll put it in the edit instead.
Okay.
Because I'll just send it over to you, Pete, after. But it's pretty funny. He tries to make an analogy with an apple. And if you've just got to see it, just put it. I'll send it over to you, Pete, and just put like a tiny little clip of it in.
It's like looking at an apple, right? An apple sometimes is most likely red, right? There's green apples, but just look at this. There's apples that are red, right? and you're looking at an apple, and this is what we did with Billboard. Yo, explain how you deduct. If there's 50 million streams, right, on Google, why only count 30 million, right? So it's like looking at an apple and say, I'm obviously looking at you and you're red, but you're not, but you're telling us it's not red.
Basically, he just like he's being serious, and then he's like, because he's calling them out for cheating in effect, and he's like, it's like when you call an apple, I can't even explain it. He's like, it's like he just goes round and round in circles, and he keeps like looking at the camera, and you can tell that he's like in his head, he's not making sense, and he knows he's not making sense. And he just but why did he put that? Basically, yeah, I wish that I could just show the video now because it's pretty funny. I thought, but he's my Muppet of the Week for that reason. Yeah, we'll have to put it in the edit. I don't know why it's not working. That's frustrating.
I watched the video. I didn't mind the song, to be honest. I mean.
Yeah, I mean it's
I mean it's very 6ix9ine. You gotta take it with a grain of salt. Like
for sure.
He shouts at you the whole time. It's like 3 minutes of him yelling at you.
This is the thing, I think there's been a lot of influential rappers and artists and hip hop stars throughout the years that I think if they would turn in their grave if they seen what this is what it's come to. Like you think back to Tupac, for example. If you showed him that, I think he wouldn't be best pleased. I don't think how hip hop's turning out, in my opinion, anyway. But like things move on, don't they? But yeah, never mind.
We're gonna dive into recent developments in the world, and a lot of things have been changing in the last week or so regarding sport and the coronavirus overall, and the perception of the virus and opening back up is very different where I live than where Rich is in the UK. I don't know the reasons for that, but here it's very lax. Like I guess I don't want to get too political, but I guess you could say it's derived from the agendas of the politicians, and people overall are just kind of relaxed now. And not saying that like I haven't been victim of this either, but it's just very different, and I think it's kind of quarantine fatigue, if you will. I've been hearing that term thrown around a little bit. People getting tired and like they don't see this virus actually doing anything like to their real life, if that makes sense. They don't see it as a real enemy because you can't touch it, you can't see it, like. So, Rich, how are people in the United Kingdom perceiving all this, and are you guys talking about opening up? And what's Boris saying and all that?
Yeah, I mean, this is a difficult one because everyone's got different opinions on it, and it's like you said, Pete. Some people have different thoughts on it, and I think unless you're directly affected, touch wood, I've not been, and my family we're all good, and that I'm thankful for that, and I'm grateful for that, and not only that, like I don't know anyone who directly has been affected by the virus. So it can become a bit of a strain on you mentally because you think, well, like you say, I'm not seeing it direct. I can't see it doing anything. And there's a lot of that, although it's causing a lot of damage to a lot of people and a lot of people's lives. And, there's a lot of people that it's doing nothing to and they're not seeing anything. And I just worry that we are starting to just take our foot off the gas. And I actually mentioned it in my vlog that we are so close now, I feel, to actually. I read that today that scientists are saying that this is going to be around for a long time until we find a cure. Like this is going to be, constantly around, and the fears and the worry and the implications of which the coronavirus or what it can do to us will remain ongoing until, like I say, they find a cure. And like, at what point do we just have to turn around and just say, do you know what, fuck it, like we've just got to almost meet it head on and just go with it? Like if they're talking about like you become immune to it after you get it, like at what point do we have to say, right, well, you know what, this is how many numbers have had it, sadly this is how many numbers have died. If we just go out now and just say, right, let's just go for it and let the last sort of wave hit us and then have gone with it. Like when does that happen? I guess I don't know. But I suppose to answer your question, Pete, we are starting to to lift things Boris last week made the announcement that we can now visit or make contact with another, with a friend, just one person only at a time, as long as we still carry on social distancing. But me and Shah went to the shop the other day, and this is no bullshit. Like, we took our dog on a walk, and we were walking for a few miles, and we got to this shop down the road, and Shah stayed outside with the dog, and I went to walk in. And this car pulled up outside, this is no joke, and 5 lads just bowled out as if it was like normal. Like, this was like, they weren't even thinking about anything. 5 of them bowled out, came straight into the shop, and they were just like walking around the shop like nothing was even going on. And you know, they got quite close to me at one point. I gave them a bit of a look, and they sort of realised then that, you know, that what they were doing wasn't right, and one of them sort of walked away the other way. And it was just a bit weird watching them, like, because I was waiting to get served, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, you know, just have a bit of respect for things. And I just feel like there's a lot of that at the minute, and it worries me because of the government are lifting restrictions down. I think people, like you say, are just getting a bit lazy, I guess. I don't know, it's a weird time. I really don't know the answer.
It's a very complex issue. I saw girls that, like, I saw a girl Snapchat story, she was at a bar, like 3-4 friends, and like the bar was packed. No, I was like,
no
what
way.
in the world?
Is bars open over there?
Yeah, certain states, like the backward states, like Alabama and Mississippi.
Fuck. I did not know that.
Yeah. But what? So now we're obviously at a point where sports are starting to kind of come back, thankfully. And Rich, the Premier League has come back, and I know there's been some backlash. It seems very divided. Sorry, it seems very divided, especially on Twitter, whether you null and void a season. And obviously, I think there were 12 game weeks to go, so you're about 2/3 through.
Yeah.
Or the other option would be to finish it out, and you got to probably finish it before the month of August. So
yeah.
The test came back today. I saw David Ornstein tweet out that 748 players and staff were were tested.
Yeah.
And 6 came back positive.
Yeah.
That was just from 3 clubs. So all 6 positive tests were from 3 clubs. That's it. What are your thoughts on sport coming back? Do you think the Premier League is rushing it? And obviously the Bundesliga is back as well. So you have to take that in consideration and everything. What are your thoughts?
I think for me, I think first and foremost, safety has to become the major factor here. You know, I know players are getting paid a lot of money, but they've got a lot of money too. Like, let's not forget that, you know. And there's people a lot worse off than these people that are paying the wages and also getting paid the wages. And the players' safety has to be the first and foremost driving force in the decision. Like UFC, for example, they returned last week. I seen that, but ultimately, like, these are fighters. Yes, they're getting in the cage. Yes, a very close contact, but you're getting in the cage with one other person. You know, if your camp's not got it, your training camp's not got it, because you're getting tested and all them have got tested and whatever. You go then to the fight, you fight one other person, you leave. There's no crowds, nothing. And they are comfortable doing that. They are happy to do it. They want to do it. The difference is with the Premier League, well, for a start, they're not going to have any fans. Like, we've got to just like diminish that. I heard some talk today of, oh no, what happens if, you know, we do start playing again? Can we have in X amount of fans, whatever? Like, that will not happen. It can't happen.
It shouldn't. It's not worth it. Just watch it
why?
on TV. Yeah.
Why? Like, you know, why
would you even
risk
want to go? Like,
exactly.
You know.
Exactly, and it's like, I seen funny thing that, well, it's not funny at all, but it puts everything into perspective. It's like someone said, I think it was Twitter, but it was like, if Ford released the new Focus, and in the first week, everyone that got the Ford Focus got in the cars with their families, went out, and the car failed, and, you know, 30,000 people died. Would you go out the next day having those stats and those numbers and buy a Ford Focus? You just wouldn't. And this is it puts it in, you know, it's like, it puts it into perspective. It's like, why would you want to? But people want to. People think, like we said, you know, people are losing their patience with it, and they can't see it having a direct impact, and they want to take a chance. And it is frustrating. But like I think for me anyway, like I said, players should have, player safety has to come into it first. I've seen that Troy Deeney, because they've been all told to get back to training this week, and Troy Deeney, the Watford striker, he was told they said, right, we're going back into training this week, and he turned around and said, well, I don't feel safe enough yet.
First smart thing he ever said.
Yeah, I know. I second that. But like it's interesting because he's no disrespect to him, but he's not like the biggest player in the Premier League. But he's
I mean, he's a starter. I mean, he's been in the league for a while now. So.
Yeah, exactly, and he's one of the older sort of guys, and
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think he's respected, especially in Watford. He'll be respected. So it'll be interesting how many players come away. Like even Raheem Sterling has come out and said, I think on his YouTube channel, that he doesn't really feel like the time is right now. I think, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere. Trust this podcast to get very factual at times. But like, it just has to. The players have to be fully comfortable to go back to training. And there's so many more aspects to it as well. Like the kit guy, he's not an athlete. He's got a family that he might have to go.
And he might be advanced in age as well, like he could be
exactly
60 years old. Like there's coaches that are 65 years old.
Coaches, the people, the cleaners, the people, the nutritionists, the fitness people. There's so many things that people. It's not just the player going back to training and then going and playing a game. There's so many aspects. Like each team. Like we're talking top level sport here, there's probably a team of like 60 people who they'd probably be mingling with on a weekly basis, and then they're going to go and play against another potentially 15 people that weekend, and then they're mingling with another 60 people. It's just, is it worth it? When we're told to stay 2 meters away from people right now, like I don't get it personally. Although I'd love to see it back. Don't get me wrong. Like I would love to see football back, but I just might be rushed.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. I think it's rushed too, and you're running out of time now. I think the Premier League is coming, to me at least, and maybe this is just media doing this. They just seem a little bit hungry for money to me. They just seem so intent on making this happen.
Yeah.
And at this point now, like, if you started training right now, you got to give the players 3 weeks at least. And some of them will complain about that not being enough time to get ready. But, like, you should be decently ready. I mean, you should be training at home. I mean, I know it's not the same as playing a real match, but you can't expect in these circumstances you got to make some sacrifices. There might be some injuries. But, I mean, if you give them 3 weeks from now is, like, June 6th. So then you got to play 12 matches in 7 weeks. If you don't get anything started before like June 15th, you're playing just a ridiculous amount of matches in such a short amount of time you're playing 12 matches in essentially like 6 weeks, right?
Yeah. So
that's 2 matches every week, and you got to there's so little margin of error. If there's one outbreak of 5-6 people at a club, then what do? Like, you get 5-6 players, like, you got to cancel a match and move it? Yeah. Where are you going to move it to? That's my
exactly.
thing. So
yeah, exactly. And then you've got no break going into next season. So like you say, but what do they do, though? This is the thing. Like, what's the alternative? What is the
right?
Can they cancel a league? Would that be fair to Liverpool? I know me as an Arsenal fan, it would be pretty funny. But then even that, like,
so funny.
It would be so funny, but imagine if the shoe was in the other foot. Imagine if we were like...
I know.
I'd
it would
be
suck
so
ass.
upset.
It would be awful.
But then saying that, it would be still funny for them to just get handed the league and then for them to brag about it. And it would be always like, yeah, but did you actually win it, though? Especially if City come back next year or like another challenger comes in next year and wins the league and they don't win it properly and they don't have their celebrations. But like PSG... No, I don't like the idea either. But PSG, they done it in France, didn't they? PSG were given the league title because they were out in front by...
Giving it every year, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
No, I get your point, though. I get your point. I mean, Liverpool are going to win the league, but, like, at what point... You can't, like, if the relegation battles are close, like, I know it's tough. Like, how can you say that Liverpool wins the league? I mean, I know they're so much farther ahead, but, like... that team that's like 5-6 points down, like the odds are they're probably going down, but you never know. You know what I mean? Like, where do you draw that line between definite and
then what do you
subjective?
do? And then what do? You can't exactly just like relegate those teams and then not bring other teams up from the championship, and that's a lot tighter. And then you know that's got to filter through to the rest of the leagues. You can't just give Liverpool the league and then leave everyone else normal. I don't know, but they need to do something quick because if the players are going off their head. Have you read all the news stories this week?
Yeah.
If they're true, obviously. But like Hudson-Odoi, have you heard that?
Oh, geez, yeah. I was going to bring that up. That's a very serious issue. I'm gonna kind of give the audience some context into this right now because I know a lot of people, unless you're a Chelsea fan from America, you probably don't know what or who Callum Hudson-Odoi is. But so I'll give you that ESPN article. Chelsea winger Callum Hudson-Odoi was arrested on suspicion of rape in the early hours of Sunday morning after police were called to his house by a woman who told the police she had been raped. This article is 2 days old. I don't know what else has happened. There was an ambulance called to the house at 4 in the morning or 3:30 in the morning, and after a report of an unwell woman. So I don't know. The details are probably still coming out. Let me see if I can find them right now.
Yeah, they've not proved anything. Like that's the first and foremost. That's the first thing that we've got to say here is like they've not actually nothing's been proved, right or wrong. No one's actually said if he's done it. No one said if he hasn't done it. I mean, it's a pretty strong accusation to be making. But like even still though, before we even get to that part, like he's. Like, what's he doing? He's breaking lockdown rules, and he's supposed to be setting an exact... Like, he's a Premier League player. There's a lot of young kids that look up to him that haven't seen their friends for months, that have been told not to do certain things, and then he's just going out and bringing around... Like, it's not even his girlfriend. Like, this is what we've got to realise here. It's just like a woman that he's just obviously brought round to his flat. It's like, for fuck's sake, like, you're supposed to be setting an example.
To give the American listeners, like, an idea of who Hudson-Odoi is. He's like a young English prospect. He's supposed to be one of the better prospects in soccer, and so I guess like it'd be like a Jeff Collins in the NBA kind of comparison. Young player, not the best prospect, but certainly high up there. You hate to see these type of stories. He's actually back in training. What I just saw. So
today, yeah. But this is the thing, like I say, it's annoyed me first and foremost that he's broke lockdown rules, being in the public eye. It's like, come on, because if he's doing it, and thinks it's acceptable, and let's be honest, then it comes out that let's say he hasn't done anything, and nothing comes of it, like the fact that he's actually broke lockdown rules, then people just think it's all right again, and ultimately we've got to do what we're told right now. But then I've been reading things like, why would he do it? He's got so much money. He's the best prospect. Like that's not stopped anyone doing it. Look at Harvey Weinstein, for example. There's been multiple sports people who have done, similar things. There's no, like, money's not the driving force here. They've clearly got other issues. If he has done it, I'm not saying he hasn't, but I just feel like people are very quick to dismiss people, and it's annoyed me. And in fact, there was a tweet about it, and I was very close to picking this guy as my Muppet of the Week, but I just didn't want to expose anyone because I don't think it was fair. Because he's clearly a young kid, and I just didn't really think it was fair because I think he will regret this tweet because it's had a lot of responses, and he's kept it up, still up now. But he said, my piece on Callum Hudson-Odoi, media outlets making a big deal out of nothing. He's 19. Yes, he made a mistake, but he's a teenager. Jesus. And then he goes on to speak about other fans. But like ultimately what he's saying, he's not said that he's not made that mistake. It's not been proven if he has or hasn't. But he's almost saying, well, yes, that was a mistake, but he's a teenager. And it's like, mate, that is you cannot.
Yeah, you can't be saying
you've
that.
Potentially fucked up some woman's life if you have done it forever. Yeah. You can't just be like, oh yeah, well it's all right. He's a teenager. Like, and this is the thing, he's just a biased Chelsea fan, and to put things into perspective, Pete, for your United States viewers, like football fans over here, soccer fans in effect, are very passionate about their team, and they can get very biased at times, much like your argument with LeBron and Michael Jordan. Like they can get very biased and they just don't think about anything else. Like, this is just a Chelsea fan, just like, yeah, well, he's made that mistake, but yeah, he's our like big prospect and like leave him alone. Like, this is way bigger than football if he has done that. You know, this is like a much greater issue. And to write something like that is just idiotic, and I'm pretty sure he'll take that down in the next 2 days, I'd imagine. If he doesn't, then he's even more of an idiot than I thought, and he doesn't even deserve Muppet of the Week or a shout out from us in this podcast, because that is just stupid.
I have so I have a question regarding like criminal justice in the UK. So like he was arrested on these allegations, right?
Yeah.
On what basis like can you be arrested on that? Like they have to have some sort of like something has to be awry at the scene, right? Like she's clearly hurt or something, right? Like,
well, as far as I'm aware, like, yeah,
but he's back in training too, so like,
yeah, he made bail, so
he made bail, but the team let him to train again.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, I don't really know.
Like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. There's nothing really like I said, you know, when I was looking at this as a news story, because I'm quite interested in it. Just firstly, what's happened and, you know, what is true. I couldn't really find anything on it, and this is the annoying thing. To answer your question, I guess, you're right. You know, the police would turn up at the scene and sort of like just probably inspect the area and just see what's going on. I'm led to believe that she was taken away in an ambulance in the early hours of the morning, so like 4 a.m. I think. So either she had too much to drink, or I don't know. Did he hit her? Did he hurt her? No one knows. Like, nothing's coming out as concrete evidence. Right. Nothing's been said. She was just taken away in an ambulance. Then when she's came round, she's then accused him of rape. So, you know, maybe she's embarrassed. Maybe she is accusing him. If she has done that, then that's bang out of order as well, in her part. But we just don't know. It's too early to speak. But I just feel like dismissing people at this time when we don't know concrete evidence, either from his or her side, is just bang out of order. And like I say, it's so much bigger than football. You've got to think about people's lives here, and also if she is just making an accusation, then that's pretty shitty too. Like, I read some statement that she's looking to make a name for herself and stuff. It's like, again, it's just debating what's the truth.
We don't know. We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah. My question was just like, why would Chelsea let him train again?
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. Maybe they are led to believe that, because he's quite from what I can see, he's quite a normal guy. He's not like the big, like, sort of arrogant sports star, you know. He doesn't come across like that anyway. He's quite a religious person. He's quite a respectful person, quite a shy person as well. So maybe Chelsea, having known the person, might just be like, well, you know, there's no way that we can see you doing this. But this has happened before, though. Do you remember the thing a few years ago? What was his name? I've forgotten his name now. Hold on, it'll come to me. He was charged and he was accused over. He was accused from for being a paedophile. You know, he was.
Adam Johnson.
Adam Johnson. That's it.
Right.
So he was accused of all this, and he was allowed to play. He played 12 Premier League games, I think.
That's
when
one
his
of the
trial was
worst stories. Yeah, like that is one of the worst stories. Still, that was 2013. Like, he was still playing 2013, 14. Like, it was.
This is my point. Yeah, so his trial was going on, and he was allowed to play, and then it came out like he was going to court like a week after he was playing.
What? My thing is like Callum Hudson-Odoi was clearly arrested. They're not going to arrest him off just her saying, he did something bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not going to just arrest him off that. There clearly has to be foul play. You know what I mean? For them to arrest him. So he definitely like I don't know. I mean, maybe not.
It's such a difficult
Something
one,
was definitely awry, you know? But like, how can Chelsea
sure.
let him train with all of that going on? I don't know. It's a complex subject.
Well, the thing for me though, even right, even if he's done nothing wrong in terms of like with the girl or with the woman, whatever. If I'm a football player, going back to what we were saying before, and I was told to return to training, you know, and I didn't really feel safe, but I was told, you know, I'm mixing with people who have all been in self-isolation, all been in quarantine for this amount of time. You've got to come back to training because we pay your wages. We're playing football again. anyone within the Premier League, anyone within these squads who have, now got the virus or getting the virus, whatever, we're going to stop them coming to training or playing or whatever. You go back to training and all of a sudden you find out your teammate is just like getting random people around to his house. He's clearly not following the social distancing guidelines. He could have coronavirus and you're going to train with him.
Yeah,
like for me,
that's a whole nother thing too. Yeah,
like Chelsea as a football club should be, making an example there. I think to not just him and not just Chelsea, but actually to all the Premier League clubs that actually, if you're going to be taking the piss in effect, then we're not going to get back playing football.
It's a great point. I mean, Chelsea kind of, he was training, so like, like they kind of missed the opportunity, like you said, to set the example. I'm not surprised though. It's Chelsea, man. Come on.
Yeah, no, I'm
agree
kidding.
That's
completely.
Just
but I agree though. I agree. But yeah, it's just a really strange time, and like I say, the footballers are just going off the rails a little bit. There's been so many things.
This is a good segue into the next player we wanted to talk about, which is Alexandre Lacazette, who plays for Rich and I's favorite club, Arsenal. And he was recently, a video came out of him sucking, I believe, laughing gas out of a balloon. Well, he was just sucking out of a balloon. We don't know. We're going to assume that it was something that got him high.
Yeah, sadly it was though. It was actually, there was like text that came out as well. This is like 2018 though, but it's just recirculated. Really? Yeah. But it's recirculated like now, because now the footage just came out. So like I think the text came out back in 2018, or one or the other. Like the video came out in 2018, then the texts have come out now. Basically him like confirming it basically, so that now there's proof in effect. Like this week, which is just annoying because I don't know. I quite like Lacazette, but like I say, players. I don't know, like it frustrates me, like the thing is about football, right? And same as the NBA, same as basketball over in the States, Pete, but like these are players getting paid to play for a team that a lot of fans support.
Yeah.
And it's sad that they don't respect that. Like it would be different if it was a runner that done it, or like I don't know, like a swimmer, or like, a boxer, say. Because these people are in effect out for themselves and they don't have anyone paying their wages. They've got to earn their wages.
Yeah.
In effect, us as fans pay his wages, and he wouldn't be where he is without fans. And for him to just sort of like, just show a bit of disrespect in a way, it sort of made me dislike him, I guess. It's not dislike him, but like, it's just, I've just lost a bit of respect for him. And to be honest with you, like he's sort of like struggling to get his place in the team, and rightly so. With stuff like that, it's just a bit like, well, why? What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, these guys are losing their minds, I suppose. Do you think the Premier League will come back?
This
season? Do you think they'll finish the season?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but I think they'll do it. I think, like what you said earlier, they're too greedy not to.
God, they're greedy, aren't they?
And too traditional as well not to. They're too like they're very much like I don't know what it's like in the States, but historically over here they're quite big on that. Like they're quite big on like the 1920 season, the 17-18 season. Like the seasons, they're quite big on like structure. So to have like it just lost in the memory bank of like not being a thing, like I think is the main driver, I think, in actually getting it back. I think personally, but
yeah, I think it'll come back. I'm apprehensive to say that though, because we talked about this the other day. I think they're kind of just like dancing around it. Like they're not really committing yet. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I'd like to see it back, obviously, under the right circumstances. But when you're talking about you can't celebrate goals, I mean, I guess that's fine. I guess it's just like minimizing the contact as much as possible. Like these guys are banging up on each other during the game, and then you can't celebrate a goal. Like it's like, but I get it. like you are minimizing a point of contact.
Yeah, but it makes no difference if players are like just getting random girls around to their house. So
Right. Yeah. I mean that's the worst. That shouldn't be happening.
I get it if they say like just contact whatever, but like you're all confined, or even like have them all living in the training ground. I know that's shit, but like if the players really want to, I know they've all got families and stuff, but if they really want to get it finished, then just set up something where they can all live, I guess. I mean, that might sound outlandish and a bit stupid, and probably is. Like, they probably wouldn't agree to it because they've all got the like multi-million-pound houses at home to go back to and their families and stuff. But realistically, that's the only way it's going to be safe, because if one player gets it, he's going to give it to the whole group, and then like you say, a few of them are ill, and then that game gets postponed, and like you say, you cannot move it anywhere. So there's no way of actually finishing it, I don't think.
Right. Yeah. Like I just worry they're gonna look like clowns if they start it and then something goes awry, like then you look even dumber than before, because then you're risking real lives. I mean, you're risking real lives regardless, but if like, I mean, just because you are young doesn't mean you are immune to this virus. Like there have been people all around the world that have gotten sick and died from this at a young age, and if something like that happened, it would be catastrophic.
Yeah.
Look for the league. It would be catastrophic.
100%.
Like, like that's the risk I think that they have to consider. Is it worth it? Like that would just, I mean, it would be horrible. It'd be horrible.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's already a footballer died of it. I think in France.
Right, but like my point is like putting them in that position. Like if a player gets it during a game or something, then they're totally screwed.
Yeah. And this is, and my point as well, it's like you said, no one's immune to it, and we've already seen that footballers aren't immune to it. This guy was fit, he was young, he was healthy, and he died of it. And this is the thing, if they do return and they're like, oh yeah, it'll be all right, just return and play football, finish the season because we want you to, the fans want it, and then all of a sudden they, a player dies, and it, like you say, it'll be. But yeah, it's a difficult one. Like I don't really. Just 2020, like I've said it on this podcast before, I've said it on my vlog, it's just fucked. Like we've lost the whole year in effect. Like what are we now? Nearly June, and like we've not done anything. Like we had January, February, a bit of March, and then since then it's just been a disaster. Well, it's been a disaster all round, isn't it? Like we've lost so many people. That's the thing. Like celebrities, like Kobe, sadly going. We've had that YouTuber as well.
I was just about to bring that up actually. If you guys aren't familiar with YouTubers and stuff like that, there's been news that came out, and all these YouTubers have been commenting on it. Tanamonu, or whatever her name is. A couple other people. Mike Maljack commented on it, but Corey Labari, I believe. I never watched any of his videos. He passed away in a car accident, or actually with someone else in the entertainment industry, Daniel Silva, a tattoo artist who has been featured on television reality show Ink Master. I think that's on Entertainment Tonight, or not on Entertainment Tonight, but on E here in the States. And they hit a tree in like a McLaren. I'm sure they were going fast.
He was drunk as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was drunk, and he was. Daniel Silva was gonna be my Muppet of the Week, but I thought it was too serious,
too sensitive,
too sensitive, and like it's just another example of like why, like these guys are so young, they have so much in front of them, and they're also super successful young individuals.
But he's 25, like it was his birthday, and he's like they were driving a McLaren. Like to put that into perspective, he was 25. I don't know if it was his car, but or even the other guy. I don't know what age he is, but he's in his 20. Like he's driving a
it's one of the nicest
expensive
cars you can
car.
buy. Yeah.
Exactly, and like you say, it's like you said, they're successful people, and I don't know. It is just sad though, like to have. Yeah, I don't know. He died on his 25th birthday. I watched he put out a video, the day before saying that I'm going to take this down. I just want everyone to know I'm not going to upload tomorrow because it's my birthday and I'm going to have fun. And that was like the day before That night,
Good
then
God.
he died sadly, and it was on Mother's Day as well in the US, because you've got a different Mother's Day from us over here.
Yeah.
And like his mum put out a video just like really distraught, and it's just really sad. Yeah, it's just an upsetting time. Like you wouldn't wish that on anyone. But I suppose the message here, like, is just don't drink and drive. Like, to any younger or to anyone listening to this, you know,
Jesus.
like, how many fucking examples is that taught us now, that when someone gets behind the wheel drunk, what happened to me? You know, like, you look at my vlog a few weeks and months ago, when that car crashed into my house, and I went out into the middle of the.
They ran away, right? Or they drove away?
Mate, he was nearly dead. The guy was nearly dead. He was underneath his car. He drove into my house, and he was like, he wrote off 2 cars on my driveway, and he was out in the middle of the road, pissing down the rain, freezing cold. It's like 2 in the morning, me and Shara are in bed, and I've ran outside, and this guy, the car was messed up, like, it was messed up, and I'm looking in the car, like, shining my iPhone torch in the windows, couldn't see anyone anywhere, thought he'd ran away, and I've went round the other side of the car, and his foot is hanging out the underneath of the car. And like, I've looked underneath, and I won't go into too much detail, but basically, yeah, he was under there, unconscious, blood coming from his head. Yeah, ambulance arrived and whatever, and he was heavily under the influence of alcohol, and that hit me hard, like, because, and it's hit Shar hard, you know, for a few weeks, and like, from that point, like, I would never recommend anyone to get in the car having had a couple of drinks, because it's just not worth it.
God.
Like,
this is like an age-old issue too, isn't it? Like, you know, I mean, it's been around since cars were invented. I don't understand, like, why. Like, it's just not worth it.
No.
It's just one of those things. I guess when you're in the moment, not thinking about it, you know, like, you've probably had drinks too, so you jump in the car.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Like, I've, like, you know, I think back to times when I, like, you know, being a bit younger and being a bit more blasé, like, you're out on a night out, it's going to be 60 quid for a taxi, you've already spent, you know, a lot of money on alcohol, one of your mates is like, yeah, I've only had a couple, jump in with me, I'll get you home, it's freezing cold, it's early in the morning, you've got work the next day, and you're like, yeah, fuck it, why not, it'll get me home, and I've done it, like, we've all probably done it, but my advice to anyone from this point now, don't do it. Like, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. Just get home safe in a taxi, and just, yeah.
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know it was a more serious episode. We're gonna have a guest on next week. Hopefully, we're working on ironing that out. If you guys have anything, well, first off, if you are still listening, drop your Venmo, because I'm gonna drop $5 to first person to comment the timestamp of me saying this right now. Boom. And I'll give you $5. So, I mean, it's a pretty good investment. $5 richer, you can go out and buy yourself a couple things off the dollar menu at McDonald's or the Golden Arches.
I'm going to say, Pete, though, like, they've got to be subscribed as well.
Oh yeah, if you're not
I'm
subscribed,
just getting sick of these people watching without subscribing at this point. That's it. I'm done with it.
We want to do a live stream too. So look, like, if we hit like a milestone, say 50 or 100, like, we want to do that. We want to make a live stream. Rich did a live stream not too long ago on his own channel, and it went really well. And I think we could get a lot of people. We'd have to hype it up on our own personal channels, but I think it'd be fun to do.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
We're thinking about that.
I've got a question for you, Pete, before we go, because I really like these podcasts and I like speaking to you, so I don't really want to finish it just yet. Lifting restrictions, we touched on it. I'm excited, like, so excited for it all to be over. What's the first thing you're going to do? What are you looking forward to most?
That's a tough one. I think just like all the things that you take for granted in normal life, just going out and doing it again, like going out and going to like a Mexican restaurant, you know, like just like going to a restaurant with your friends and just like sitting there like 8 deep, you know, you're having a good time.
Getting coleslaw.
None of that. No. Take that back.
Cottage cheese, that's it.
Yeah, that's a little better, I suppose. But just like going to the restaurant. I mean, simple one, I guess, but how about you?
Yeah, I suppose, like, we were speaking about this the other day, you know, shout out Shara again, but she finished uni, as I know you did too, Pete, so congrats on that, you know, your last week. But like, she finished, and it's a big deal, and I wanted to take her out and take her for a meal, have a couple of drinks, and just enjoy ourselves. Celebrate the occasion. We couldn't, and it's just a weird. It's to know that you can't do anything, and like you say, I'm just looking forward to doing that. And we go down to the beach a lot as well. Her family's down in the south coast, down in Bournemouth, as you'll probably recognise from the football team. But they live down there, so we go down there quite a lot, like once every 2 or 3 weeks, I suppose. Nah, maybe not. That's an over-exaggeration. Maybe 4 weeks, 5 weeks. But I love the seaside, and yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to the most. I think just going down there. Yeah, just chilling out, having a little swim, having a little paddle, getting my feet wet, building a sandcastle or two.
Is the water quite cold there? It's got to be pretty chilly, right?
Yeah, it's not. In the summer, it can be nice though. Like once you're in, you're fine. But yeah, it's not probably as warm as Florida.
We're getting you down there one day, man.
We've got to go. We had a question as well on Instagram, and I'm going to let you answer this one because it's a piss take question. But when you think about it, actually, I just want you to answer it with a valid point here. It's from Ant. He's asked, would you rather have 1 horse-sized duck or 20 duck-sized horses? So random. Where has he even came out with that?
That's actually a great question.
It's a great question.
I think a horse-sized duck would be terrifying. That would be terrifying.
Yeah, it's like
right. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I would much rather have the 20 duck-sized horses. Right. Yeah, the little ones.
Why?
Because it'd be cool. They'd be mobbing and you'd be running around you. It'd be awesome. They'd be following you around. That'd be sick.
That would be pretty cool. See, I would rather have the 1 horse-sized duck, to be honest.
That'd be terrifying, though.
No, but I can.
It's like a pterodactyl.
Exactly. Get on that thing. I'll go straight to Florida. I don't know where I go. But my point is, I could just go anywhere. You just fly around in it.
It's a private jet.
Yeah, exactly.
Private jet, man. That's what they flew around in the Flintstones. Yeah. You know what the Flintstones is? You know what Flintstones are, right? Okay, I wasn't sure. All right. Well, we're running out of time here, so we're gonna wrap this episode up. Like I said, new episodes every Sunday, 10 a.m. UK time, 5 a.m. United States time, Eastern time. I know you guys are not up for that at 5 a.m., but whatever, you can watch it at 8 a.m. or whenever you wake up. But we hope you're enjoying the podcast. We're going to keep it going. We love doing them, so I'm going to sign off. Rich, final words?
Final words, subscribe if you're still here, if you haven't already.
Right. Subscribe. All right. We will see you guys next week.